Hi girls, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well and everything is fine. We'll answer today the comprehension questions of the house on Mango Street. Question number 1. Describe Esperanza's house on Mango Street. Esperanza's house was what? It was a red house with tight steps, little windows, crumbling bricks, and it was small, as written at the beginning of the story. Question 2. What does Esperanza's name mean in English? Her name means in English hope. Her name means hope. Clarify. What does Esperanza mean when she refers to her home as the house I belong but don't belong to? She means what? The house that she belongs, the house that she lives in. But she doesn't belong to, she doesn't feel like, she doesn't feel part of it. She doesn't feel that she's a part of this house. Question 4. Make inference, the skill we learned through this story. The inferences you made about Esperanza, based on your inferences, what conclusion can you draw about this character? What can you tell about Esperanza? Tell me adjectives you would describe her. Esperanza was what? She was sensitive. How did we know? Remember when she met the nun of her school and she saw the house, she felt ashamed and she felt sad for this. So she is sensitive. And what else? Determined. She is a determined person. How? She made a commitment to writing and she said, I will be a great author and I will grow up and leave this neighborhood and be rich. So Esperanza is sensitive and determined. And the two evidences, the two that I've just said for you. Or you can get any other evidences, okay? Question 5. How would you describe Sincero's tone? What is tone? Tone is when I call you at the phone, I hear your voice and I feel, why your voice is so sad? Or why your voice is so happy? What happened? So how I know? I know from the tone of the voice. But actually the author who writes a story doesn't have a tone. You just have his words. So using the words give you the tone. So here, the tone of the story is achieved through the words. So what is the tone here? The tone is what? How did you feel? The tone is what while you're reading? The tone was sad. Sad. How sad? The description of the house. When she described the house and she said how it was totally against her dream. Right? Not the way her parents told. It is going to be alike. And when she said the house is sad, and when she said I don't belong to it, right? Okay. Question 6. Reread the lines 51-63. Consider Esperanza's feeling about her legacy. She said she doesn't want to inherit her great-grandmother's place by the window. We talked while analyzing the story about the place by the window, that the women who spend their life in the window, sitting on their elbows and set their sadness on their elbows. They said watching the streets out of the balcony and watching their dreams fading away. So she doesn't want to be what? What does she mean by that? She doesn't want to take the same life of her great-grandmother. She doesn't want to inherit the regret of her great-grandmother. She doesn't want to live this life. She doesn't want to be dominated by a husband. She doesn't want to restrict her activities and kill her dreams. She wants to pursue her dreams and achieve them. So she doesn't want to do what? She doesn't want to inherit the lifetime of regret of her great-grandmother. Question 7. Consider Sincero is the author. Statement on page 613 that she strives to write the stories that haven't been written. She wants to write stories haven't been written. What are these stories that haven't been written? About what we read now. Why she choose Speranza's story? First let's see. What are the stories that haven't been written? Sincero lived in a poor neighborhood. Okay? So she saw these women. So she wants to write about these stories that have never been written. She wants to tell the stories of these women because these women didn't write their lives stories. She wants to write about them. She wants to write about the poor Mexican American women. She wants to write about them, that they do not need to be controlled. They do not need to set their sadness on an elbow. They do not need to be dominated by men. They need to live their lives. Okay? So she chose to write a story that haven't been written because these women didn't write their lives stories. She wants to write about them. Question 8. Think about details Sincero included in this vignette, as well as Esperanza's feeling about her life. Then consider what you learned about Sincero in the biography and background on page 613. What do you think is Sincero's perspective on growing up poor? As we said, Sincero lived in a poor neighborhood. She saw these women. She understands the taste of poverty. She saw how they were controlled by their husbands, how women were serving their husbands with no hopes, no dreams. So her childhood experiences of moving into a shabby house in a poor Chicago neighborhood build her perspective. And we said perspective is how do you look at the world. Shaped her perspective on the pain of poverty. She understands the pain of poverty. Okay? That's why she wrote about Esperanza, and she understands how Esperanza would be feeling toward that life. Esperanza is the character in the story. How Sincero could write that well about Esperanza because she understands how this life looks like. Question 8. Oh no, we answered 8. 9. Sincero says Cineros. Cicineros. Not Sincero, and I've been saying Sincero. It's okay. A Mexican name. It's too hard to be said, okay? Cicineros. It's okay, girls. Say it as you want to say. Says that in writing The House on Mango Street, she was trying to write something that was a cross between fiction and poetry. In your opinion. So here I can help, girls. Are these vignettes more like verse or more like fiction? You have to tell me. When you were reading this, you feel this fiction or poetry? And if fiction, tell me why. If poetry, tell me why. Thank you, girls. See you. Bye, girls.